Hi everyone, Christina Werner here. Welcome to another video for assignmentsofstamp.com. Today I'm going to be showing you 4 different ways to use the Outline Floral Mom craft die that was just released a few weeks ago. For 2 of the cards, I'll be creating very easy watercolor backgrounds using Nouveau shimmer powders. And then for the other 2, I'm first going to create a simple shaker card, and then I'm going to modify the die and create a really clean and simple card design. So this is the Outline Floral Mom die, and it's nice and big. It's sized perfectly for an A2 card. So you could use this die all by itself and it creates a beautiful card. I'm going to be creating 2 cards, both with the watercolor backgrounds, and they both have the die cut using gold foil cardstock. So I'm going to be cutting this gold foil cardstock with my die cutting machine. I'm going to run it through, and I'm actually going to run this through 3 times because this gold foil cardstock is rather thick, and I want to make sure I get a really clean cut. So I'm running it through 3 times. After I have everything cut, I'm going to punch out all the little pieces of the flowers that are around the outside of the mom. And I'm going to be using a Tim Holtz craft pick for that. This is a great tool to have when you're using intricate dies, especially when you need to punch out the papers that are left inside the die. You want to make sure you get those punched out before you use the die again. So having a craft pick like this is really great. I'm using a few different colors of Nouveau shimmer powders. I've got Solar Flare and Cherry Bomb on this one. And I'm wetting my watercolor paper so it's nice and wet. I'm just using a wide paintbrush for that. By the way, the watercolor paper I'm using today is Strathmore Cold Press, and I've taped that down to a hardboard so that as I work on my project and it dries, that it will dry completely flat. I put on a little bit of powder and then sprayed it with my Distress sprayer, and this just adds quite a bit of water to the surface of my watercolor paper and really gets that powder moving. The pigments are activated, it starts moving around. I'm tipping the board. That's why it's a great idea to have your watercolor paper taped down to something that you can pick up and move around, because then you can manipulate the water that's on the surface of the paper and really get all of those colors moving. I added some more yellow over on the side because everything started turning orange and it was kind of overwhelming, all of the colors. And this area right in the center, this vertical area, it was a valley that the watercolor paper was creating, and I didn't like how it was accentuating all that orange. So I did sop that up with a paper towel, and then I brought in more of that Cherry Bomb color. And I'm using my heat tool to really move that color around and also stop it from spreading, because as it dries, it will stop moving. So now I've got this really pretty shimmery background. The shimmer powders, like their name implies, leave behind a pearlescent sheen, and it's a little bit hard to see in video or even in a picture, but believe me, it's beautiful in person. So I'm trimming down this watercolor piece so that it is 6.5 inches wide by 4.5 inches tall. And I'm going to be gluing that gold mom die directly onto my watercolor paper. I'm using some Gina K Connect glue. I'm just holding that die cut with some tweezers while I get it positioned perfectly over the top of this watercolor background. So here's a tip for you when you use this die. After you have adhered the outline of the die, you're going to need to do something about the interior of that letter O, because it's completely blank and you need to put in the outline from the die cut. So the way you can do this is put in the positive area or the letter, and then you can puzzle piece the outline area for the O right on the inside. This makes sure that you have perfect placement and you don't have to question or wonder if you have everything in the right spot. So I'll just lift